my dear friend. My name is Miss Chambers and this is Mr. Cosmo. And today we are going to be teaching you guys how to create narrative nature rubbings. So, a narrative is a spoken or written account of connected events or a story. Now, a story you've been told many times by your teachers, your parents. That's something you very well understand. Now we are going to be telling our narrative through nature rubbing. Now with our nature rubbings, what those are a bunch of collected items. So it's a whole bunch of leaves, little twigs, even some flowers I have here, they're very small. Even some bark if you want to, and you can collect those by going out on a nature walk, which I personally during this time right now am doing quite a lot. So you're going to collect those materials and then you are going to use them to make rubbings, like so. So I have a whole bunch of rubbings right here, and you'll see me making this in a clip coming up right after our walk. So I have a whole bunch of these materials, and in order to make those, I just used pencil or colored pencils or crayons as well. So we're going to be using those materials to create a story about how we are feeling right now. A lot of us might be feeling sad, we might be missing our friends a lot, we might be missing our teachers and just our normal routines of going to school every week. Or we might be excited because we have so much time off, we can spend more time with our families, but there's a whole bunch of emotions that we probably have going through our heads. So what we're going to do is we're going to use these natural materials to create the rubbings, and then we're going to organize those in a very strategic way so that we can communicate a narrative or that story. Now, when we are creating our narrative, I am personally adding words to mine because words are kind of a very good way to really communicate how we're feeling right now, and it might bring a little more clarity, or it might just help things make sense a little more while we're drawing things down and creating our narrative. And it might just help us get some thoughts out of our brain and put them down on paper, so it's a good way to kind of release. If we're feeling negative, if we're feeling positive, it's good to get those written down on paper so that we can take them out of our brain. And we can make as many of these as we want. I personally made 2, but you can make 1, you can make 2, you can make 10 if you want to. And the more you make, honestly, probably the better. And you can use your materials multiple times. You can use them as many times as you want. There's no limitation to this project. It's a very free thing that I want you guys to be able to do. I don't want you guys to feel limited at all. All the creative decisions that you make are all yours. All the thoughts that you want to put on paper are all yours. And all of those thoughts are justified and they are A-okay. We're gonna go on a nature walk. You can bring your family, bring your pet. I could bring Mr. Cosmo if Cosmo was kind enough to go out for a walk with me, but he's not able to do that. So bring your family, go on a nice nature walk, and collect a whole bunch. Collect a bunch, because there's gonna be some things that you use and some things that you may not use, but the more you have, the more options that you have, the better. And then we can get in to creating our nature rubbings, our narrative nature rubbings. Alright friends, so I just came back from my walk and I have a whole bunch of fun stuff here for you guys to look at. So I got some flowers that you guys saw in my backyard that were blooming, which are incredibly pretty. We got a whole bunch of leaves. It'll be interesting to see if these leaves end up working because they're a little dry, so they might break a little bit underneath the paper, but we'll see what they give us once we try to rub them. And then I have a few more leaves. We have some little pine pieces right here. That'll make some fun texture if you want to make hair. That would be fun. I also have some bark. I figured that might just be an interesting texture that I could use for something. Even found some rocks. If I'm really gentle with these, we can try and use that as well. I might not end up using all of this stuff, and that is totally fine, but at least I have a great amount of stuff for me to use if I need to. And if I don't want to use them, then that's fine. So I have some more leaves, I have some more rocks. This will be interesting. Ooh, this is like granite. Ooh, very nice. And then I have some pine cones, which we can try to make an effort to use as well. So I have a good plethora of things to work with if I want to. And like I said, if some of them don't end up working out, that is totally a-okay. All right, and now let's see what we're going to be working with to make our rubbings. Hopefully this is all stuff you guys have in the household. Kind of all you really need at the very least is a simple pencil. My pencil is really nice looking, but you could just simply use a number 2 pencil like you use in school too. And you just you'll take it kind of from the side like this and you'll be rubbing, and I'll demonstrate that once we get more into our actual rubbing. Also have some nice colored pencils here that I can use. Ta-da! Lovely. Very nice. Ooh, so nice. So I can use that just like I would be using my pencil and just using the side of it. Or even more fun, I dug through and found a whole bunch of crayons that I could use. So ideally, you want, when you're rubbing your crayon, to be more like this. It's totally exposed, so I can use more of the side like this. But if you have these suckers, what you can do is just take the little part right here and peel it back just a little bit. It's a little annoying, but you can do it once you really get it started. And once you get it started, it makes it a lot easier once you actually start. So now it's time to be testing all my materials, and I mean my tools and my nature materials. So I'm just testing them out on a nice scrap piece of paper to see what textures I can get and see which tools I like using the best. And we do want to make sure that we do this testing process first, and then after that we can get into our final piece. So I finished my 2 pieces that I'd been working on with my natural materials, and so I wanted to show you what I ended up with. So you saw my process a little bit in my time lapses, and this is my final result. So I have my leaves, I have some little flowers here, and I even have some things that didn't really work out so well, which is totally okay, because I know I tested some things, but some of what I found out was some of the pieces that were softer really didn't bring me much of an imprint. So I had a little flower here, a little like old dandelion, and then I had some leaves up here that didn't really come out so well. And that might have been how I was holding the pencil, or it might have been just that it was too soft and the leaves didn't want to come out. But that's a-okay. That's kind of what art is about testing things, and if they don't work out, they have an impact anyways. So I do enjoy how this came out a lot, and I enjoyed the way that I was able to experiment with different materials despite the fact that some of them didn't work out. And I even added some wording in here, which I encourage everybody to add, because during this time you might have a lot of thoughts going around in your head, so it's really good to be able to record things. And because we're doing this as a narrative piece, I feel like some words will really help impact that narrative. So I put these kind of in a circular motion just because I was trying to represent how things are a little chaotic right now. Things are really swirling around in my brain. So I wrote this little note, everything is a little chaotic, I'm just trying to stay positive, which I am. And I know everybody is trying to stay positive too, despite the impact that they're having in their lives. And this is impacting a lot of people. So that's one thing that I was able to do with the pencil. I was able to use the pencil for this piece. And then I tried out my colored pencils and my crayons for this one, and this one I wanted to be a little happier than this one. So I took that opportunity to use some of my colored pencils and then some of my crayons as well, and it was able to come out really colorful. And for this one, I laid out my leaves and my natural materials in a very strategic way. They're all really well lined up, and for each material, I have a positive word associated with it. So for this one, I had grateful. For this one, I had hopeful, warm, safe, lucky, loved, cared for, healthy, positive, creative, and informed. And then I'm making sure for both of these pieces that I'm putting my name on the bottom and the date as well, because it's nice to be able to look back at these things when you're older and be like, I can't remember when I made this, but when you have the date on there, that's how you know when you made it, and you have your name on it. So this one is much more colorful. I tried to make it much more positive because despite the fact that a lot of bad things are going on right now, that's also a very good time to take advantage of all the good things going on in your life. So it's nice to kind of keep account of that. Like, what are the nice positive feelings that I feel right now? And I'm going to record them down so that I can try and feel those things in the moment as well. And then you're making art as well, which I hope is something that's going to make you feel positive as well. Now, I really hope everybody had a really good time creating their nature rubbings. I know I did. It kind of gave me a really nice time to be able to reflect, to be able to make some really wonderful artwork. I'm really proud of my two pieces. I really hope you guys are proud of the pieces you make, and I hope you made more than just two. I hope you made 20. I hope you made 1,000 different pieces during the time that you have. So, and I hope you wrote a lot as well. I hope you were able to get some thoughts, whether they were positive or negative, out of your brain and down on that paper, so you could tell this little story of how you're feeling during this incredibly weird time we have, where we have to stay home in order to stay as safe as possible. So I hope you guys had a really wonderful time. I hope you made some awesome stuff, and I hope you guys stay safe, stay close with your families, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Mr. Cosmo hopes that you do too.